Welcome to today's branded video. Branded Fusion will be semi-limited starting July 1st. I went on a journey to see how good branded is. Once again, everything is labeled in the timestamps. Here is the deck list that I have been using. Some people no longer have tragedy in their decks, but I think you should have at least one. It is a good backup option that you can send to the grave with Branded Fusion or Foolish Burial in case Lubellion is negated. I like having 3 Albazes since they are high value bestial targets. You don't want to run out of them in your deck or hand, and it combos well with Ecclesia. Ecclesia can special summon itself, and it can special summon Albaz out from the hand or deck during either main phase. Mercurier enables some of the more creative plays. When banished, we can add Ecclesia, Cartesia, or Albion to our hand. Cartesia can also special summon itself, and it has a quick effect fusion summon. It is also our fusion deployment target. As for fusion deployment, do not craft this card. If you need copies of it, buy the Cyber Dragon structure deck. Each deck comes with a single copy of it. Alba Lenatus is interesting. If sent to the grave, it can add Branded Fusion to your hand in the end phase. If you're going second against Dragon Link, you can use Albaz and Super Poly to out your whole opponent's board. If you do not have this card and don't want to craft it, you can easily replace it with Starving Venom Dragon. If you had to pick between 2 branded players, one with 2 branded fusions and one with 0 branded fusions but with Cartesia and Ecclesia, who do you think will win? Let's see if you were right. Our hand is pretty awkward, so we're going to have to do some weird stuff. Start with fusion deployment to special Cartesia. Cartesia effect to fusion summon Granguinol, sending Mercurier to the grave. On summon, Granguinol sends Albion to the grave. Druid Swarm banishes Mercurier and special summons itself. Mercurier adds Ecclesia to our hand. Albion sends Retribution to the grave and shuffles itself back to the deck. I set Super Poly, and then we pass. They start with Albion to send Retribution to the grave, shuffle itself and draw 1 card. Branded Opening sending Serenir to the grave to special summon Aluber. Serenir sends Lubellion to the grave and Aluber adds Branded in red. They literally have everything. Attempt to Branded Fusion and I negate it with Ash. They normal Albaz activate its effect by sending another Albaz to the grave, and then I just use Super Poly by sending Ecclesia to the grave. I've used both their monsters and Granguinol to summon Proskenion. Banish Retribution to add back Branded Fusion to their hand. They set 2 and pass. In the end phase, both Cartesia and Ecclesia come back to our hand. And I draw another Ash for their Branded Fusion. I just normal Cartesia and attack. Cartesia effect to fuse Proskenion and Ecclesia to summon Masquerade. Now they can only use 1 effect. Ecclesia comes back again. They are so lucky to still have everything. We use Imperm on Masquerade, dropping them to 200 life points. I already know that the other set is branded in red. I was worried that they might just normal Albaz and fuse into Mirror Jade, and that just outs my whole board. So I fuse away into Dragostapelia. Branded in red brings back Albaz. They used Branded Fusion, and I Ash it, but they drew the one of Crossout Designator. They really did just have everything. Sent Albaz and Cartesia to summon Albion. Albion effect gets negated by Dragostapelia. I thought they were going to tribute Albion to summon back Lubellion, so I bring back Masquerade. Turns out, they just wanted to crash it. This brings back their Aluber, which negates my Dragostapelia for the rest of the turn. Both of our Cartesias go back into our hands, and Albion sets Banishment to their side. I drew into Magnamhut, and it's over. Normal Ecclesia, special Albaz, fuse into another Masquerade. They could have chained Banishment at any point before Albaz resolved, but I could have banished anything they targeted with Magnamhut, and of course they leave. Here is the deck that they used. They had one Baldric. If I needed another Bystial, I think I would prefer an extra Serenir. Branded Beast is a good card, but just like Spright Double Cross, I think it's a bit too slow. If I'm going second, I need something that I can use right away. Maybe like Super Poly or even a Kaiju would be better. 2 Veilers and 3 Imperms seems like overkill, and you would have a high chance of bricking. Now this one is interesting. I knew they had Ash in hand and they had something chainable, but they decide to hold on to it. I start with Fusion Deployment to special Cartesia. Normal Aluber to add Branded Lost to my hand. Activate Lost. Cartesia fuse Albaz and Aluber into Lubellion. Lubellion discards Ecclesia, and Lost adds Albion to my hand. Shuffle back Lubellion and Albaz to summon Mirrorjade. Albion sends Retribution to the grave, shuffle itself back into the deck, we draw Foolish Burial. Foolish to send Serenir to the grave, which sends Branded Fusion to the grave. Then we banish Retribution to add Branded Fusion to our hand. Activate Branded Fusion, and there it is. They negate Branded Fusion with Ash. Congratulations! Mirrorjade sends Albion to banish itself. Albion sets Branded in red and Ecclesia adds herself to my hand. We are playing against Vernuslyph Adamancipator. Send the Bear and Guardian to the grave to send Crusader to the grave from the deck. Special Guardian, and Crusader tries to set Cartesia. I chain Cartesia's effect, and then they try to negate with Guardian, but we have Branded Lost. Our fusion activation cannot be negated. Branded in red adds a Aluber to our hand and fuse Cartesia and ad libitum into Granguinol. And then we fuse into Masquerade. Chainlink 1, ad libitum summon back Mirrorjade, Chainlink 2 Granguinol, Chainlink 3 Lost, Lost adds a Mercurier to my hand, and then they leave. Sometimes ashing Aluber is the right play. So we are going second against Spright that got their full combo off. They use all 3 Swap Frogs and Nimble Angler's Grave effect, so if we can just clear the board, they will be out of gas. Let's just speed through their plays. If you want to learn more about sprites, check out my complete guide. I will add the link in the description below. Finally, it's our turn to have fun. I drew into the second Super Poly. First, we use Super Poly to fuse the Melfies into Garura. Then fuse Garura NIP into Dragostapelia. When Garura is sent to the grave, it draws 1 card. I make one mistake here. I use Branded Opening before I negate Carrot. But then again, it doesn't really matter, because we'll still win. So they negate Opening with Carrot, and I try to negate Carrot, but then Dragostapelia and Carrot both get banished. Here I move into battle to try and bait them to use Elf, and they fell for it. Elf targets blue, and then I target it with Serenir. I just hit over Elf and pass. They draw 1 card and pass. I attempt to use a second Opening, but then again it gets negated, this time with Ash. So I attack and pass. Once again, they drew nothing and passed their turn. I drew into the second Serenir, and then they leave. Why would they leave if they have 4 cards? Here is their deck list. They probably ended on some bricks. Ibli is not good in this format. because if you summon it to your opponent's field, they can just tribute it away with a Bystial. If you want to lock your opponent, you have to do it with Testudo and Double Cross. If you use Angler, there's nothing you want to send to the graveyard with Foolish Burial. I personally would replace Pixies with additional copies of Red and Carrot, just in case Tier Mills or Naturia Runic banishes your only copies. We open with a bad going first hand. Start with sending Lubellion to the grave to add Magnamhut to our hand. Banish Lubellion to summon Magnamhut, and then they chain Maxx C. That was the extent of our turn, so I don't even ash it. In the end phase, we add Serenir to our hand. Our opponent is on Dragon Link, and we just use Maxx C after the normal Safert. Chain Quick Launch to avoid the Maxx C draw, but then we ash it. Safert sends itself and Collapse Serpent to add Lubellion. Send Lubellion to the grave to add Magnamhut. Activate Regained. Safert banishes itself to add back Lubellion to their hand. Magnamhut banishes Collapse Serpent to summon itself. Regained draws a card, and in the end phase, they get to add a Bystial to their hand. Move to battle. They attack over my Magnamhut, and since my board is empty, I use Serenir here to summon itself. Set one card, add Druid Swarm to their hand, and then they pass. Start with Fusion Deployment to reveal Granguinol to summon Cartesia. Fuse Cartesia and Tragedy into Granguinol. Granguinol sends Lubellion to the grave, and Tragedy adds Aluber. Tribute Serenir to summon Lubellion. Serenir sends Retribution to the grave. Before I can use Lubellion's effect, they destroy it with Branded Beast. Normal summon Aluber. Regain summons back Magnamhut, and then I add Branded Fusion to my hand. Branded Fusion into Albion, sending Albaz and Ecclesia. Activate Albion, and then they summon Druid Swarm by banishing Albaz. That doesn't matter, and we just fuse into Masquerade. Since they specialed, Granguinol banishes itself to summon Perskenian. Regained will draw them a card, and I add back Branded Fusion to my hand with Retribution. Move to battle. Perskenian destroys Magnamhut, also burning them for 2500 damage. Super Poly, Aluber, and Druid Swarm into another Masquerade. They activate Druid Swarm to send Masquerade to the grave, but then they take 1200 damage from it. I just attack twice, and it's over. The only significant thing to note in this list is Arc Rebellion. This card will gain attack equal to the attack of every monster on the field, and if you have a monster in attack position, you will lose, so you have to be careful when going first against Dragon Link. We open with a good hand, but if they ash Branded Fusion, we have to get creative. Start with Branded Lost. Activate Fusion Deployment to summon Cartesia. Normal Aluber. Cartesia effect to fuse into Granguinol. Granguinol sends Serenir to the grave, and Lost adds Albion to my hand. Serenir sends Retribution to the grave, and Albion sends Regain to the grave to shuffle itself and then draw one card. Branded Fusion gets negated. Retribution adds Regain to my hand. Branded in red, targeting Aluber, and fuse into Dragostapelia. Since we banished Dark Monsters, Regain shuffles back Granguinol and draws one card. We draw Ash and pass our turn. they normal summon Beaver, Regain triggers summoning back Serenir, and Dragostapelia negates Beaver, also making it level 1. They attempt to use Foolish Burial, and then I Ash it. They leave with 3 cards in hand. Let's see what they were playing. So here is their deck. There are a lot of cards that I would add to Sprites after Swap Frog and Jet are semi-limited, but the Adventure package is absolutely not one of them. Rite of Aramesir prevents you from using effects of your normal summon monster, so you can't use Swap or Beaver's effect. Gamma is good if we were in triple tactic format where everyone is using Maxx C before you can summon a monster. But in this deck with Adventure, you're going to draw Draco back and Driver sometimes, and that makes a quarter of your deck useless. Also, where are the Bystials? There's so many things I don't understand. So overall, I don't think semi-limiting Branded Fusion hurts the deck too much. It does force us to be more creative with our plays since we will hard draw into Branded Fusion less often. The channel has recently reached a milestone and now I am officially a YouTube partner. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. YouTube has allowed me to enable memberships, so if you are interested in supporting the channel, here are some of the benefits I was thinking of providing. Should you want to see additional perks, I am always open to suggestions. Any donations received will 100% go into making the content better. And of course, early members will have a chance to influence the additional perks. I am also planning to start streaming in 1 or 2 months, so please keep a lookout for that. I will also share a link to my public Discord server sometime this week in the community tab, so if you're interested, keep a lookout. Again, thank you so much for your continued support, and I look forward to creating more content and being able to interact with you all more often. Until next time.